join me. Um, Going live right now. All right. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today, and I thought I would make this video dedicated to Tico Rodriguez, who sent me a message asking me to make a video on the topic of prayer, and he's asking about some things in particular. Um, I believe he is my patron, so if you would like to also become a patron, you can go to my website, susanmorales.org, click on support, and you can go to the Patreon option. And if you click there, it shows you, I think I just have 5 tiers options there. There's the $5 one is behind the scenes videos, so you would give $5 a month, and I show videos like about my interviews that I do on my channel. I'll share behind the scene extra footage, like my saying hello to them for the first time, and yeah, it's kind of a cool thing that I get to share on that only there. And then if you select the $10 a month option, that option is a record a video with me. You get the extra behind the scenes videos, but you also get like a 30-minute discussion on Zoom once a month, even, or as often, like as possible. And the $15 per month is choose a future video topic. And so that includes the other things that are in the other tiers, but plus people in this tier can choose a video topic, and you can choose someone that you would like me to interview, or if you want me to host a group discussion on a certain topic, you can do that. And I'm recording a video right now live. My husband is wondering if he can come into the bedroom. I'm kind of just sneaking into the room. I didn't even tell the kids, so that once they know I'm recording, then they're going to want to like come and hang out. So yeah, the last tier is yeah, you get to just give me out topics. So this is one of the videos I'm doing for one of my patrons. I'm really grateful for my patrons, and I hope that you guys know it. And I am very happy to make videos for you to show you that I'm happy, that you believe in this channel and that you support what I'm doing. You find value in what I do. So thank you so much. The topic is going to be about prayer. And I'm going to read the questions, the comment. Often we see dozens and dozens, sometimes hundreds, of people laying their hands and praying for a child or a loved one. So let's talk about that first part. Yes, I have gone to churches where you see that. You see, or even like a church will say, everybody stretch your hands to this child that someone is dedicating, or, if there's a prayer, yeah, that's a thing. That's a common thing in the churches that I've been a part of. So the question is God more persuaded by prayer because more people are praying out to Him compared to perhaps one person praying for one other person? And I think that this question about prayer is a topic that you would like survey the whole Bible, really. And I'm sure that there's a lot more to say than what I'll cover in this video. One thing that just comes to mind, for example, is that prayer, there have been different kinds of prayers, or God has required like many people to pray over, like to repent, or there, I'm just thinking about like all the different stories in the Bible where you watch one person pray about something and then God answers it, like the prophets. But then there's today, and I want to share one experience I've had. I'm not sure if you, as a Christian, value experience. I value it. I think it's one way that God gives me personal proof of His existence. And so it actually goes with what the Bible teaches. There was one time that I was very ill, around the time that I had just had my second child. And I remember going to a church and just missing a few services because I had these symptoms where I felt like my head was shaking inside. Like just moments would happen where like I literally felt like my brain was shaking and trembling. And so I had to like lay down and wait for that to stop. And I had other things going on too, like sinus, um, like those things that lag on, like a sinus infection that just doesn't seem to be getting better quickly. So I was struggling. And at the time, that pastor was someone that he was really active on Facebook, and he would message people from his church. And I felt comfortable to private message that pastor. And I think he asked, how are you doing? And I told him about this. And he suggested, oh, yeah, like, no, like we can't just leave it at that. You come to church and we'll pray for you. And that was, I don't remember anymore. Like, I feel like I wanted him to say that to me. Maybe I asked him to, but it was because I was like, wait a minute, in the Bible it says something about, and it's here in James 5:4. I guess I'll read the New International Version. It says, is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray. Is anyone happy? Let them sing songs of praise. Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well. The Lord will raise them up. If they have sinned, they will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. So I was, I had already been seen by a doctor, and I really, really was in a rough spot. So I went to church, and at the end of the service, the pastor invited me and my husband and my little kids to, I know, let me just finish this story, and then I'll address what you left in the comments. I think your name is Joel. Let me live chat right here. Okay, yeah. So I went into the pastor's office, and he got oil, and him with the other, I think there was like a couple more pastors, and they prayed for me. And he started the prayer with this Bible verse, and I believed. I felt like I was believing God and what the Bible says, that if a person is sick, then go to the elders. And that's what happened. And after that prayer, I did get better. I didn't have that symptom anymore where my brain felt like it was shaking. And so that was a personal testimony that I experienced because I had been praying on my own. So sometimes I think that God chooses how He answers our prayers, how He wants to answer our prayers. He could have answered my prayer alone, but maybe He wanted me to connect with the church, or maybe He wanted me to experience this, that God does answer our prayers through elders as well, that God is faithful to His word. Now, Joel left a comment right now saying that the book of James is not meant for us. So let me explain how my thinking is when it comes to this. The book of James was not written to Susan Morales necessarily, right? It's it's we have these writings that were these conversations happening at between these believers at that time. But as a believer today, I can learn from their conversations. And if God was giving this advice for these people, it's the same God. And if He wants to answer our prayers today, then He can. I don't limit God to, like, God can only answer my prayer this way or through these people. You know, if God wants to answer a child's prayer, He can do that. Like, God answers prayers. So He answered my prayer in this situation using this Bible verse, having faith in Him that He could heal me, believing that this Bible that I'm reading is real and it's true, and the God that is spoken about is the one true God that is my healer. Does God always answer prayer the way we want? No. Sometimes God hasn't answered my prayer in the moment I wanted Him to. Sometimes He answered it differently. Sometimes He had a purpose in letting me suffer, go through some trials. It definitely has shown me how God is with us in the worst nightmares of our life. And I'm able to sympathize with the people that are going through certain things and help them out. So there's more to the comment of that I mentioned, that the reason why I'm making this video. And the comment says, so is God more persuaded by prayer because more people are praying out to Him compared to just one? I would say it depends on His purpose. If in the Bible He does teach us to pray as a community of believers, then that's His will, and that's what we need to do, because that's what He tells us to do as believers, because we're believers here today, still, just like the believers during the time that these writings were being written or being communicated. We're the believers of our time. So I think God answered one prayer to me today. I was just kind of thinking to myself, I'm at this church, and I'm kind of new because of COVID. I had only gone with my family for like a couple months, and now I'm still like, we didn't get involved during COVID times. It was just a confusing time for us, and I was really ill too, not to mention that, among other little things that I deal with. And so I've just, after church, I usually go to the playground, the church's playground, because that's just what the kids like to do, and I'm happy to do that. But I just kind of told myself, yeah, I'm never going to meet like anybody because like everybody's on the other side of the church talking to each other and stuff. So I was like, I would really like to, like, at least once, like, see the pastor of the church and like shake his hand, you know. And that was it. That was all I said. I don't even think I prayed it like, God, please let this happen. Maybe I did. I just remember thinking that. And then after the playground, we it's a big church, so it's hard. It's hard to do that. And it's like we were walking all the way to the other side of the church to the parking lot, and stopped by to take a picture of my daughter by the bushes with the beautiful pink flowers. And wouldn't you know it, there's the pastor like walking right like in front of me. And I'm like, oh, hi, like it just surprised me because that never happens like all the other times. Like it's just never happened before. And I just felt I'm just such a timid person. Like I wanted to like say, hey, I'm new here, you know, can I shake your hand? Or it's just like, oh, like, is that awkward? Is that weird? I just thought, you know what? It should be the pastor that like leads like socially, you know what I mean? Like he's probably really tired, so I don't want to interrupt him. So that was it. But to me, it's like, whoa, like it was like God answered my prayer today. So I honestly think that God can answer our prayer just by like even not even praying, but just thinking about it. But definitely, like we should ask Him for things. Um, but it doesn't. I don't think we have to rely on other people to like feel like, oh, God's going to answer my prayers if I ask a lot of people to pray for my situation. But what? 5 minutes, please. Um, but isn't there encouragement when we go to even on Twitter or social media and we're like, this terrible thing is happening, please pray. And it's encouraging to us to feel like, oh, people are praying for me, you know? Um, but I definitely want to do a future video on, I have a book on prayer. Maybe I can look into it deeper and we can talk about that topic more in depth later on. So the last thing on this comment says, I often wondered the purpose of devoting your child to God in front of hundreds of people for the pastor to pray for that child, as if devoting your child at home was of lesser value. Just some thoughts to consider. Yeah, and that's where I feel like there's a lot of our culture, a lot of like the way the church does things is so different in our time here on earth. Like even like getting baptized, right? Like sometimes I think, well, can't I just technically like baptize my kids in in the bathtub? So there's like a lot of different beliefs that you should do it in front of other people. It should be like a church leader, and so that's one of those things that like devoting your child, like asking for God to, like, is it devoting or yeah, when you have your kids and you bring them to church and you're like kind of making a statement, you're saying, hey, I'm going to live my life to dedicating, that's the word I've heard, dedicating your kids to God. That and so it's like you're making a statement that you're going to live your life trying to like make these future disciples. You're going to try to do your best to raise these children to know about God. And also it's like the church also is in a sense partnering with you in order to help in however they can to support you. So I think that's we find meaning in the way that we do things today. But again, I don't think it's necessary, but it's nice to be mindful of that community element. Um, I know God has answered a lot of my prayers, just me by myself. So I think there's definitely a reason to not be intimidated. Just, if you're praying alone for something difficult, at the end of the day, I think what matters is what is God's will. If He wants to answer that prayer, when He wants to answer it, how He wants to answer it, that's what really matters. And if He leads you to seek out someone else to help you to pray for something, then that's what we should do. We should obey how He's leading us. So I probably missed a lot of the chat, um, but I'll look over it later. Thank you for your comments. I always appreciate them. If you didn't hear, I mentioned in the beginning of this video um, that I'm answering a video question that one of my patrons asked me to make a video about. And you can go to my website, susanmorales.org, and check out those Patreon tiers. And I was also thinking of adding, I think I'll do it for the second option and up. I'm going to start to record myself doing my Bible studies just throughout the days, and I think I'm just going to start adding little short clips on there to kind of go with the theme of following Jesus in an everyday kind of way. Um, my heart is to talk about what I'm learning about the Bible, so that I think that will be a good place to start. And I'm also excited to continue responding to women in ministry videos that Mike Winger is sharing his research on. And here's an update. I have decided to take the approach of trying to be as fair as I can about complementarians and trying to nuance those things. Um, I want to be mindful that a lot of you guys are complementarians, and I want to promote unity. So if for you, you're convinced that complementarianism is following Jesus in an everyday kind of way, then I want to look for all the ways that egalitarians and complementarians agree on that, and just trying to be mindful of that. And I feel like I grow when you guys I feel like I grow when I hear from you guys. I feel like it's an experience that all of us are a part of, and shaping each other and encouraging each other along the way. So even if I don't respond to your comments, or even if I've blocked you previously, I do remember like the things that you say. I may not like the way you come across, but I feel like I grow, and even if I don't agree, I do want to keep your perspective in mind and try to work on my way so that I can disagree in a way um, that is more charitable. And I think Jordan asked if it's possible to have a discussion with Mike Winger about this. I reached out to Mike Winger on Twitter, I think it was yesterday. I asked if he would be interested in doing a video with me at the end of his series. So, I hope I'm not coming across like really rude on my other videos, because I'm not trying to. Um, but if you guys want to help me try to convince him, I almost don't want him to do it if he doesn't want to, right? So I don't want to keep asking, but if you guys would like to see that, then please, by all means, go to Twitter. Like, I don't know, ask him, tell him that you would love for that conversation to take place. Maybe you could work out your disagreements if possible. It'd be great. Yeah, I agree. And I think, Jordan, that I think it would be really nice because I was wondering like how many conversations out there are there with a complementarian and an egalitarian not yelling at each other and not like saying, the worst things about each other and just really trying to understand each other, trying to find some things that we have in common and just trying to be like just let someone's experience be said. I had suggested that he and I could talk about how our personal views have had a positive impact in our marriage. So if that's a video that you wish Mike would be a part of, help me out and see if you can convince him because I didn't get a response. So, I would just, I'm not sure if this is what you're asking, Jordan. I would just like want to talk to him, maybe like 30 minutes, just a one-time discussion. Um, Currently, I'm reading the book. One of the books that he brought up, the first book he brought up on his introduction. I'm still responding to his introduction. Yeah, and so I'm going to read that book this week, and I'm reading the chapter in that other book that he mentioned, and it has to do with gender roles. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to really understand what the lady author is writing. I want to really like highlight her strengths, and then I want to like go back and really try to understand what Mike Winger is saying, and then like really like try to think that through. And also a part of this to help me think through that because he mentions philosophy um, in that video. So I've scheduled an interview with Liz Jackson, Dr. Liz Jackson, and she has her PhD in philosophy. So I'm going to be talking to her on Wednesday about how philosophy interacts with theology. And I'm hoping that that will also give me a better understanding about Mike's arguments about how this lady author has, she has started with her philosophical argument, and that makes her incapable of like just plainly reading the Bible. Okay, so Joel really wants me to read the super chat. Okay, thank you for that. I don't know how to see it. Let me go to the comments. Okay, sister, can you please look up what ABT Supernatural Healings video by disappears by Truth Time Radio. It will really help you a lot. Please pray if it. Yeah, I kind of checked it out last time you left it in the comments area. I can check it out when I go into this prayer topic, and then I'll let you know my thoughts on that. So thank you for recommending that to me. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do here. Respond to this this video. Thank you so much, Tico Rodriguez, for supporting me. You help me buy all the books that I get for to discuss on this channel. So thank you so much. I love you, brother, and I hope that I can make more content so that more people will become patrons as well and support the things that I'm doing. I'll see you on the next video. Leave me your own answered prayer stories in the comments area. I would love to read those as well. I'll see you.